Crosshair placement is probably the #1 most important thing when it comes to sniping in Destiny 2. Being able to keep your reticle at head level and knowing how to adjust depending on the scenario are very important skills to develop, and not only as a sniper but as a player as a whole. So let's hop into the video. Okay guys, so today I have just a few examples I'm going to break down of proper crosshair placement. If you are new to the game or shooters as a whole, what I basically mean by crosshair placement is where your crosshair or reticle is before you are aiming at the enemy. So before you are even shooting someone or before they're on your screen, really, you should already be preparing for the fight by putting your crosshair at head level. So this obviously takes some time to sort of visually learn how high to aim, like where head level actually is, but with enough practice you'll start to learn like the exact height you should have your reticle at. The reason why this is so important in my opinion is that it is so much easier to only have to adjust your reticle on one axis. So like what I mean by that is you either want to be adjusting just up or down or just left or right, not both. If you have to do both, it's just, I mean, it's still doable. Like it's not like that you can't do both, but I do think it's much easier to only have to do one or the other. Also, at least on controller, I can't really speak for mouse and keyboard. I would assume it's similar because I have played other games on mouse and keyboard. I choose to play Destiny on a controller, but I think it is easier to adjust horizontally rather than vertically. So I think it's much easier to adjust to the left or right than it is up and down, at least for me. Maybe this isn't for everyone, but for me, I have a much better time adjusting left or right. I think part of this is because, at least on controller again, the aim assist when you are trying to adjust up and down can be kind of weird. So if you're scoped in on someone and it's stomach level or something and you have to go upward to get to the head, I find that because of how aim assist works and it kind of pulls, like, I don't know, I have a lot harder time adjusting up or down. A lot of times it'll be a body shot, but if you're just adjusting left or right, I have much more success. So give it a try, see what you think. Maybe you're the exact opposite, but for me, I think it is much easier to adjust left or right, and that's why I think it's so important to always be at head level already. That way you don't have to make any adjustment. However, as you start to improve, or as the enemy teams improve, I guess, you'll start to notice that not everyone will peek you at head level. A lot of people will slide or jump or crouch. And that's mostly what I want to talk about today. So like I said, most of the time I will hold angles at head level and sort of close to cover, like close to the corner. Basically, I'm expecting people to just kind of walk around the corner and then just get domed. But if I know the other team is good, or if I can tell in the game, like, yeah, they know how to play, they know what they're doing, I'll start to hold much lower angles and much further away from cover. This is because I'm now expecting them to slide the corner instead of just kind of standing there or walking slowly around the corner. Here I have kind of an extreme example of what I'm talking about. This is a scrim against one of my friends, so I do know that he is a good player. And I know that he's around the corner here to the right. I know he's not just going to walk around this corner and peek. I know he's most likely going to slide. Like I said, I know he's a good player. So I hold this kind of crazy angle here, just kind of looking at the floor. Like, you might not really know what I'm looking at, but I do end up getting the trade here. I probably shouldn't even be standing here if I'm being honest, because like I know he has a shotgun, but hey, I was already here. It's already too late. Mistakes were made, so now I got to try to trade at the very least. And I mean, I'll take a trade here. Sniper versus a shotgun, like that's a pretty good trade in my opinion. So yeah, I'm expecting him to slide. I kind of just stare at the ground here. This is where like what I think is the slide level. You have to make a slight adjustment, but it's not too bad. The less of an adjustment you have to make, the better. So you want to get to the point where you're not having to adjust. I mean, you're not going to get it right every time. Here's another example from the same set of games, I believe. I'm expecting someone to come from the closer angle on the right. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. And then I have to adjust, and like he comes from the left, so I have to adjust and snap to the left. Now I still get the kill, but this is a lot harder adjustment than I would like to have to make personally. If I do this 10 times, I'll maybe hit the shot like 6. Like, it's not a very high, I mean, I don't know, maybe you're a lot better than I am, but I'm not gonna hit the shot every time. I do here, but I've definitely missed this before. And this is also another example of where you just kind of like, I didn't really know where they're coming from, because there's so many spots they can come from here. So I just kind of split the difference. Sometimes I'm like, if I split the difference, I'll have to adjust one way or the other, but at least I won't just get sniped if I'm wrong. Endless Veil has a lot of those, like down that center lane. Sometimes I don't really know where to hold. I don't know if I'm gonna hold on the right side or the left side, low or high. Like, it's kind of hard. So sometimes I'll split the difference like I did here, and that way you can make an adjustment to either side. But I was mostly expecting him to come from the right, but it's not too bad an adjustment just to go shoot over to the left. Another thing I want to point out is that it can be a bit more difficult to hold at head level when like the ground is uneven or there's like a hill involved. If you are higher or lower than the other opponent, it can kind of throw you off because you're not really used to the height difference like between the two of you. So yeah, just keep that in mind. This is another thing, it just takes some getting used to, probably like repetition on the maps itself. There's a lot of this on Endless Veil. It's very like uneven ground, especially around like the B flag. But yeah, just get used to it. I don't really have any tricks for that. You just have to get used to the map, but do keep in mind that you have to factor in, I guess, elevation. I don't know. But yeah, just remember not all of the ground is even. And finally, I want to talk about, I guess I'm gonna call this like holding angles for people who are in the air. These are like my favorite angles in the game to hold, and that's because this will work against any player. Like, it doesn't matter how good they are. It could be a tournament player, whatever. If they cross the area that you're aiming at, you will at least be able to have a chance at killing them. Like, you'll have a shot. If you miss, you miss, but it's at least you can kill them if you're holding the correct angle. I actually don't have a ton of examples of this, unfortunately. I was going through all the clips I have. That's because I don't really just clip this when I do it. I do it so often, I'm not like, oh, I gotta save that. But I will sort of see what I can find here. I do know I have this one on Jav where like this is a popular spot that people jump up from above this little box here. And the reason why I like these is that they are 100% like risk-free. In any other lane you're holding, there's always the chance that you could get sniped by the person that you're trying to snipe. But in lanes like this, where you're holding in the air, just waiting for someone to like jump by, you're completely safe. On Jav here, I'm completely safe. I already know they're all on that side of the map. There's nowhere I can get shot from right now. And the guy that I'm shooting at is probably not expecting to get sniped, first of all. I mean, this spot's a little more common. There are some other ones on different maps that people will never expect, but this is a pretty common spot. But still, the only way I'm gonna get sniped here is if the guy I'm shooting like jump snipes me. But I mean, let's be honest, like Bungie kind of killed that. That's not really a thing anymore. So realistically, you're 100% safe here. And if not, you're at a complete advantage. So yeah, just keep an eye out for little things like this. I don't know how many examples I'm going to be able to dig up because, like I said, I don't really save them, but hopefully I can at least find another one. But yeah, there's tons of spots on maps like this, just popular spots where if there's something in front of you that's short, it's not a tall piece of cover, like maybe it's a box or something. If you aim above it, you're usually, anyone who jumps, you can snipe and you're pretty safe. So just remember that. That's the best advice I can give. Just if you're behind something short, sometimes you can hold an angle like above you and waiting for people to jump, and it's a pretty safe angle to hold. The only way you can get shot is from people who are in the air already, which with AE makes you relatively safe. But that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully this is helpful to some of you. As always, like and subscribe as it does help me out. But until next time, I am awake and I'll see you guys later.